Pogba and signing. Half of the fans excited and the other half of the fans don't mind him cause they're enough of viola chiming. Contract expiring, no interest from Madrid won't sign him. There's some interest from PSG, but them fans they don't even like him. Pogba and signing. Half of the fans excited and the other half of the fans don't mind him cause they're enough of viola chiming. Contract expiring, no interest from Madrid won't sign him. There's some interest from PSG, but them fans they don't even like him. What? Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back again. It's just me. And today, you know, it's been a long time. You know what? It's been a very long time since it's just been me and you, man. And I thought, you know what? Let me just talk about what I've seen this morning. So I've woke up and I've seen some news coming out from the Sun talking about Paul Pogba. This news is reading that, you know, Paul Pogba wants to stay now. He's open to staying. Let me get the words exactly. So it says Paul Pogba is open to staying at Manchester United if Ralph Rangnick remains as boss. Now this is coming out from the Sun. I'm sure, like you guys, I'm tired of hearing the same old story about Paul Pogba, whether he's leaving, whether he's staying. Earlier on, you know, it seems that when we're hitting a bit of good form, a bit of vein, and we've only gotten a couple of games back to back. When we're hitting a bit of good form, we hear the story about Pogba wanting to stay. The minute things get a bit sour again, it's him wanting to leave. And I think like he's just kind of sending us on a merry-go-round. Him and his agent Riola sending us on a merry-go-round. You know, 1 minute the fans are excited that he's going to sign. Next minute, nothing actually gets put down on paper. We've heard from Man United bosses from aboard, the smoke coming out, that Man United has actually had a contract laying down for Paul Pogba, upwards of 400k a week, and he hasn't signed it. So what's keeping him from signing it? You know what I mean? Now Ralph Rangnick has come. He's saying, you know what? The stories is coming out like, you know, he likes what Ralph Rangnick is saying. He likes the approach he's taking with regards to building the midfield around him. I mean, I can understand in certain ways Pogba liking what he hears, because in a sense, you know, if you look at just you know, managed Paul Pogba for Mourinho, Solskjaer, etc. Solskjaer's played Pogba you know, in probably his preferred role, probably most out of all of them. But we've been seeing Paul Pogba playing on left wing. We've been seeing Paul Pogba restricted and playing in a 2D and pivot. And quite frankly, he wants the freedom to be able to roam. He's come out and said that he wants to be able to roam. He doesn't want that defensive duties. And a lot of the time, and because maybe how Man United is set up and the place where we're in right now, he can't go out on roam because we haven't got that DM to support him, to cover him, to make those defensive like sweeps. We haven't got that right about now. We've got Scott McTominay and Fred, and although they're energetic and they press, etc., well, Fred does anyway, in isolation, they're not really enough in ensuring that we protect the back four. So Pogba's having to do that and sacrifice some of his attacking prowess, sacrifice his ability getting forward to also protect the back line. We've seen some improvements now with Varane coming in. We've seen some improvements in form with Shaw. It's been up and down. Now it's more down, but we've seen improvements, I would say, of recent now with Ralph Rangnick coming in. He shored up our back line, shored up our defense. And hopefully that helps Pogba, you know, when he comes back into this fold. He's able to be able to, you know, roam more and be able to support the attack of play, because that's where his strengths are. But, you know, right now I can see why he's getting excited and saying, you know, Ralph Rangnick is telling him what he wants to hear, and for that reason he would want to stay. But it's yet to be seen, right? It's yet to be seen. Quite frankly, Pogba hasn't been playing in the role that he's wanted to. You know, he's been playing out wide on the wings, you know, and like I said, he's been playing in a restrictive role. So let's see. And then certainly in this formation that Ralph Rangnick has adapted with the one-person pivot in Scott McTominay, and then two number sixes being Bruno and Fred. I can only imagine when Pogba comes back, when he's fighting fit, he's going to be partnered alongside Bruno Fernandes. And you're going to have two sixes. It's going to be exciting for Man United fans. We're going to be excited to see those two, because those two are the most creative guys in our team. You know, obviously Sancho's a creative, and when he's fit, you know, hopefully he can be supporting that. But Bruno and Pogba are, from the midfield position anyway, are most creative midfielders, and it'll be great to see them partnering side by side. Look, if we can see Fred do it with Bruno, I'm hoping that we can see Pogba do it with Bruno. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully Scott McTominay, because it's all dependent really on Scott McTominay and how well he does his role. Over the last few games, Scott McTominay's been doing a decent job. I ain't gonna lie, and it's not something that's been mind blowing. He hasn't been getting man of the match performances every game, but of recent, I think he's been holding on the job well for someone that's not really used to doing that. He doesn't really, it's not used to it, but it's not really in his strengths to be doing that, playing that sitting role, holding role. He's someone that done it at a decent standard, over the last couple of games, and allowed our attacking players that, Fred's not attacking, but allowed him to get forward and use some of that energy attacking wise rather than, defensive wise. And you seen, Fred, when he was allowed, you took the shackles off. And an offensive role, we see him get a couple of assists back to back. So it's not a coincidence, you know what I mean? So that DM role is really important, man. But yeah, for me though, with the Pogba story, going back to the Pogba story, for me it's like we've been hearing this merry-go-round back and forth, and part of me is feeling skeptical. It's like you're saying that you would want to stay if Ralf Rangnick stays, but you already know that Ralf Rangnick has been given a 6-month contract and then a 2-year contract at a senior board level to sort of shape and advise the club. So you're kind of putting Manchester United in a predicament now, because you're basically saying if you don't extend Ralf Rangnick's contract, I'm leaving for free. And you've already heard reports of Manchester United talking about, they're already looking for the manager. Ralf Rangnick's probably part of that. A lot of the Man United fans want to see that. A lot of Man United fans are thinking, you know what? It's good that we're starting this job early. It's good that we're not going to be in a frenzy towards the end of the season looking for someone. Get the job done now. Now Pogba's coming with this story, and he's probably going to set us back. He's probably going to change the directory. He could, not saying it's going to happen, but he could, with this news, change the directory of how we're looking to go. Obviously, we had stories in the papers as well about Man United exploring Ralf Rangnick and seeing, holding fire a bit and seeing as well how he does and how it plays out and what he achieves in Man United towards the end of the season. So it feels like there's kind of contradictory messages happening there as well, with us searching for a new manager, but also us looking at Ralf Rangnick. Maybe we're doing both, but for me, if you ask me where I sit with Ralf Rangnick, is obviously Ralf Rangnick's coming. We was excited to hear what we've got a manager that's managing Man United and knows his football. He's impressive when he speaks. But we saw a guy, it's still early days. He tried to implement his philosophy and it didn't quite work with our crop of players. So he's changed formations. We see him do the 4-2-2, which didn't work. Then he done like the 4-3-3, which is, he's the 4-4-2. Now he's done the 4-3-3, and that seems to be working right. But for me, I'm thinking, we're keeping Ralf Rangnick anyway, right? He's going to be at the board level. So for us, I'm thinking Ten Hag could be an ideal signing, right? He's working magic in Ajax. He's doing his thing. I know Premier League is a bigger footprint. It's a bigger level. It's a bigger stage. Man United's a much bigger club. There's more pressure. But I'm thinking that we always have that security blanket of going back to Ralf Rangnick if things don't work out with Ten Hag. You know what I mean? Like, Ralf Rangnick is here for 2 years post his tenure as coach. So if things don't work out with Ten Hag, then you can always go back to Ralf Rangnick. I'm sure if we offered Ralf Rangnick a contract extension after the 2 years, Ralf Rangnick will probably be open to it. Do you know what I mean? So we can always say Ralf Rangnick, give him an extension and come back as coach, come back as an interim, or come back as give him an 18-month contract or whatever. And he'll probably accept it, So for me, I'll say, get Ten Hag, because Ten Hag's looking like one of those guys that's got all the potential. He's showing early signs of being a coach that could be a quality coach. It could be a quality coach, you know what I mean? You've seen what he's done with Ajax. You saw what he's done, getting them to the semis. They're not a big club. He worked magic with them, but the question remains, can he come to Manchester United, adopt that philosophy that Ralf Rangnick's tried to, and get us firing? That waits to be seen, but I will take the risk, considering, there's not many coaches out there. Ten Hag's one of the available ones, well, hopefully in the summer, that we could probably get outside of Pochettino, and he's someone that will be fresh, brand new. It's not attached to any names, not any other clubs that of significance in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting for us to try them and get him over the line. But back to Pogba, I'm thinking, I keep coming back to Pogba and drifting away back to Pogba. But for Pogba, it's like, I'd like to see him in this new formation for once. So like, let him just stay for the 6 months, do his thing, and then whatever he decides to do is whatever he decides to do. I don't really care, to be honest. I know he's one of our most creative players, but I don't really care. Let him do what he's gonna do. If he decides to stay, great. If he decides to go, go. Where's he gonna go to? We're talking about Real Madrid now. It's coming out. Well, stories is coming out of Real Madrid. So I think I read as well about who reported it. Let me check my notes. 1 second. Marca. So Paper Marca came out and reported it. They said, so PSG are focused on Paul Pogba, who, unless surprised, is no longer a target for Real Madrid. And I heard something earlier as well. I read something earlier about Real Madrid not wanting Pogba, even if he's free. So this coincides with that message. And if you look back in the past, you know that it was Zidane when he was managing Real Madrid that wanted Paul Pogba. The board had reservations about Paul Pogba, And it's kind of surprising, to be fair. I don't know why they are reserved. I mean, is it because of the fact that it's Riola and they don't want the drama that comes with Riola? They don't want to pay all of his wages. They don't want to pay the manager fee, etc., the signing on fee, and all of the fees that come along signing a player like Paul Pogba. Or is it that they just don't see that Paul Pogba is a fit for Real Madrid? Now, I find the latter more unconvincing or more harder to believe. Look, we look at Real Madrid. They're in they're a position where they're in financial recovery. They've got the big sponsorship deals coming in. But still, how could they miss out on a chance to sign one of the best midfielders in the world for free? How could they? Like, in a normal day, like, Pogba's value right now would be upwards of what? 50, 60, 70 million. Do you know what I mean? If he had a longer term contract, it would be, not now. So why would you miss out on a chance of getting someone like Paul Pogba? And this makes me think, because Real Madrid, right, has got Toni Kroos. He's aging. He's like, what, 32, 33. I don't see anything that Kroos has that Pogba don't have. They both have the vision. They both have passing range. They're both, they're both got similar attributes in that sense, I look at Modric again. Modric is a maestro, like world class. We know that, same with Kroos. But he's aging. He's 36. He's getting on, And Real Madrid can do with someone, in his prime, someone like Pogba's quality, that standard, Yeah, they're blooded in the youth, like Valverde and what's that guy's name that they bought? What's his name? The French kid that they bought from, what's his name? Camavinga, that's it. They brought him in, and they're both young guys, and I can see them being the future for Real Madrid. Tenacious, passing range. Camavinga, he's got all of those attributes there. We missed out on him, by the way. It was a big miss. And Valverde as well is a future. He's got all the attributes to be in a top quality midfielder and last in the test of time with Real Madrid there. But it won't hurt having someone like Paul Pogba there to call on, because he's a guy that can win you a game. He's a guy that can turn it around. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you'll find a lot more consistency in Real Madrid, in a team that's already more shaped and ready than Manchester United. But hey ho, do you know what I mean? So I've always I'm querying why they don't want him, and I can only put it to the issues of not wanting to pay the wages and not wanting to deal with Riola. And then you've got PSG. So I've always thought that Pogba's not too keen on joining PSG. PSG is a star-studded club. Pogba's not going to be the main man. He's not going to be the main man there. Obviously, they've got Neymar there, and Mbappe's there, but he's soon going to be leaving. They've got Messi there. Wherever Messi is, he's going to be the main guy. And then in midfield, it's oversaturated. So Paul Pogba hasn't really got the luxury of having a poor game like he has in Manchester United at times, and still regularly starting. Especially if they didn't shell out a big piece for you, they're just paying the wages. They'll feel more inclined to drop you, I believe, if you're not having a good game. Do you know what I mean? So we saw Gini go there from Liverpool. He's already winning out. He's not getting game time. They've got star-studded guys in that midfield. They got too many guys. Herrera's crying that he hasn't been getting enough game time. They've got Idris Gueye that is just here and there being used sparingly as well. And I think he's a solid DM. They've got Verratti. They just got too many guys in that midfield. And Pogba going there. I mean, at first it might look all pretty and they may be starting him, but I feel like if he doesn't hit good form, if he hits a patch, it could be peak for him, and he might be holding bench more times than he even thinks. And I think when that news first established with Paul Pogba going to PSG, I remember seeing banners. I remember seeing banners from the PSG fans saying that they don't want him. For whatever reason, they just didn't want Paul Pogba. And that's not representative of the whole fan base, of course not. But there's a segment there that of the fans that just don't want him there as well. So it makes you think, like, when he goes there, is he going to be received well by the fans? Is it going to be more pressure on him if he doesn't do well? Like, how quickly are the fans going to turn on Paul Pogba if you've got a segment that don't like him, and that could spread to a lot of the fan base. So, that's yet to be seen. But for me, I feel like you're in a club where your fan base loves you. Yeah, Man United fans get upset when you come out and talk to the press, get upset when Riola talks. But generally, Man United fans, they love the kid. Do you know what I mean? And Man United fans, they love their players. Do you know what I mean? If the players are riding for the club will ride for them. Do you know what I mean? All they've got to do is show full commitment to the club. Show full commitment, show consistency, play with your heart on your sleeve. And Man United fans are getting frustrated with the Man United players, including Pogba in the past, because if they feel like these guys ain't playing with their heart on their sleeve, they ain't putting their all in. We look at Martial, you see his body language, you see he's not really running for the club. We've seen Rashford of late doing that as well. And I know these guys are going through maybe stuff or outside of the pitch that's maybe impacting on their game, maybe niggling injuries and here and there, whatever it is. But Man United want to see blood, sweat and tears. They want to see that when you're on a pitch, you're playing for Manchester United. Like how at Roy Keane's days, you've got to be a privilege when you're playing for Manchester United. It's got to be a privilege. You've got to be wearing that badge thinking, do you know what? I am so excited to wear the badge. When Rashford first burst onto the scene, European football, scoring those goals, I was just like, wow, you saw the hunger. No fear there. Do you know what I mean? Similar to what Elanga's doing now. The hunger, the drive, that hunger to want to prove a point to get into the team. That is why Elanga's playing now. And that's why, in my opinion, he's leapfrogged Diallo. Do you know what I mean? Diallo never got a chance. He never really did get a chance. But what Ralph Rangnick saw when he saw these guys in training, he saw someone like Elanga with the hunger. And Man United fans want to see the hunger. When anyone is playing, it don't matter who you are. You could be Ronaldo or you could be Pelestri. We want to see the commitment. We want to see the hunger. We want to see giving it your all. And quite frankly, they ain't been doing that. And Pogba hasn't really been doing it as well at times. Track back, run, close down, all of that stuff. It should be standard. It should be ingrained in the way we play, but it hasn't been happening. So, but saying all that, I mean, I would love to see, Paul Pogba in this new formation set up, give it one more goal for the remaining 6 months, and then whatever happens, happens. Another part of me is thinking, why does Paul Pogba want to sign? Why does he want to stay? Because we're hearing that he wants to stay, right? Is it that Paul Pogba's had discussions with Ralph Rangnick and Ralph Rangnick said, yes, I'm going to build the midfield around you? Now, building the midfield around Pogba, that says something different to me, because Paul Pogba's already played with Scott McTominay. He's already played with Fred. Hasn't really worked. Do you know what I mean? He's played with your Matic or whatever. It hasn't worked, right? And the one thing what I know is Manchester United is clearly looking for a new defensive midfielder, holding midfielder of better quality, right? That can come into the starting lineup and get the ball rolling. And Man United has been linked with a heap of players, from Kamara, who's going to be 3 and 6 months, Boubacar Kamara, to Adama Hadera. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. He was linked with, he's been linked with us because obviously the affiliations with Ralph Rangnick, managing in that league and the team and whatever. Obviously, we've been linked with Tchouaméni. Now, Tchouaméni's the name that stands up to me with regards to Paul Pogba staying, because Paul Pogba's already plays with him in the France squad. Paul Pogba has a quality relationship with him. Paul Pogba's allowed to roam free when he's got Tchouaméni behind him. Tchouaméni's a young lad. He's tenacious. He tackles. He presses. He's a guy that we can see is going to be around for a long time. He plays for Monaco, but he plays for the national team. He's a young kid, but he's got all the attributes defensively that shows me that, the partnership between him and Paul Pogba could thrive in Manchester United, because we're seeing it thrive in the France team. It's something that we're willing to take a punt on. Obviously, Man United were linked with him. I think in the past, Monaco were willing to listen to offers of about 60 million pounds or euros. I can't remember. Now they've upped that price. Tchouaméni's pricked the eyes of everyone, pricked the eyebrows of everyone, and everyone's thinking, you know what? They want to see what Tchouameni's about. It's boosted the price. Now I'm hearing that they want now 80 to 100 million. You know, but we've seen it work, and I don't know if Ralf Rangnick's sitting back and having those discussions with Paul Pogba, telling him, you know what, I'm going to get you the DM that you need. I'm going to upgrade, whether that be Tchouameni, who you like. I'm going to get someone, you know, it could be Declan Rice, it could be Tchouameni, it could be someone that Pogba's saying, you know what, this will work for me. This will allow me to do my thing. We've seen Declan Rice, he naturally sits, but he can also bomb forward. He's one of the last natural DMs that has that bit extra to his locker, you know, in terms of support and attack, as well as defending, as well as knowing like his position. He's an out and out DM, do you know what I mean? But at times he can do the box to box role. He's tenacious, he's fit, he'll be running to the last minute. So Ralf Rangnick is obviously looking at these guys and thinking, you know what, these are guys that are topping my priority list. Even though we've been linked with the free guys like Kamara and Amadou Hadera is not free, but he's got a 30 million release clause in his contract. I think that Ralf Rangnick is waiting till the summer because he doesn't want to get a cheap signing. We could get Kamara over the line for pennies for Manchester United anyway. €6 million, we can get him over the line. Man United saying no. Let me wait up till the summer to get the signing that I think is appropriate. It could be that's what I think, or it could be a combination of things. And Man United is saying, you know what? Let's not sign anyone until we decide what the managerial situation is going to be like. That could be true as well, because the last thing we want to be doing is spending heaps of money now on players, or letting loads of players go out permanently, and we haven't understood what the new manager wants, what he wants to do. You know what his vision is could be totally different to what Ralf Rangnick's vision is if Ralf Rangnick's not in charge. So I can understand why we're kind of doing the deals or not doing the deals that we're doing. You know, a lot of our signings are going to be, you know, our loads without no option to buy at the minute. You've seen Martial go on a loan fee, no option to buy. Donny van de Beek's being linked with Crystal Palace, and Everton's coming the fold now. I'm sure that's going to be a loan with no option to buy. You know, Henderson's being kept and Bailly's being kept for obvious reasons. And you know what? You know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the loans. Amad Diallo, you know, has been loaned as well to Rangers. You know, like I said, Elanga leapfrogged him, but Diallo has an opportunity to go out and shine. We heard in the reports as well that they're loaning out Man United is loaning out Ralf Rangnick, loaning out Amad Diallo, but they still see him as having that talent, still seeing as a potential like player that could be challenging for a first team spot in Manchester United. So hopefully he goes to, you know, Rangers. He has an excellent loan. You know, Rangers is a big club in Scotland, and they've got a big rivalry with Celtic. There's a big club with a big pressure. Hopefully he can learn how to win trophies. He can learn how to handle that pressure. He can learn how to start every game, have that, you know, people's going to be looking at Diallo, looking at, you know, we're dependent on you as a leadership role. Even him being as young, they're going to be looking at him thinking, you know what, we need you in order to get us over the line. We need you in those tough games to bail us out. And that's what I want to see. I want to see if Amad Diallo has got that in his locker, if he can, you know, do that and just grow naturally. He needs the game time, and he's a young guy. He wasn't getting that much game time at Atalanta. He just started breaking through. We've gotten really early, and we kind of wasted a lot of his time. Wasted a lot of him, just like we did with Donny van de Beek. So I'm glad that he's going to get his loan, and I hope that he does well. But you know what? Paul Pogba, my final verdict is ride out the 6 months. Wear your heart on your sleeves. Whether you're playing for a move or you're playing to stay, just ride out. Minimal noise from Riola. Tell him to keep calm, ride it out, and hopefully we finish the season strong. You know, get in the Champions League spot, and then we push on from there. You know what I mean? Then we start dealing with the outgoings and the ingoings. You know what I mean? On a permanent basis. So that's me wrapping up, man. OT99 Banter Room, where opinions are shared, smoke gets served. Peace.